Let me ask you a question. How are you liking Fontaine so far? I can safely say that I've been enjoying it quite a bit so far. But, what about you? Now, I've been wanting to do sort of a general quick breakdown and talk of what I thought about Fontaine, as well as a few upcoming projects, and I kind of wanted to keep it pretty casual. So I'm actually going without a script today, and just kind of talking with you guys. So, again, I've done this kind of thing before, and if this is a format that works for you guys, I don't mind doing these. I actually like doing these. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was just kind of my thoughts on Fontaine, how I'm liking it so far. The good, the bad, the ugly, the Hydro Traveler, etc., etc. So first of all, there's a lot of stuff in Fontaine that I do really enjoy so far. Stuff that, right off the bat, I can immediately say they've done a bang-up job. Hoyoverse has really nailed it. The usual contenders, of course, like the story, the artwork and presentation, as well as the new enemy designs and mechanics, have all been really interesting, and I've actually liked them a lot. Not to mention the music, which is filled with loads of bangers, which is, I mean, that's not particularly surprising, right? Hoyoverse produced Genshin Impact having good music? Wow. Water wet, sky blue, grass green, tables unturned. So with all that though, Fontaine must be perfect, right? The best region we've ever gotten so far. Well, so far it's started really strong. Is it the best though? Maybe. But there are a few elephants in the room, let's say. A couple of things that I didn't like so much. And let's just kind of get it all out there. Some of the things I don't like, one of the big ones is the underwater combat. I don't hate it. I have a bit more to say on the underwater mechanics as a whole, but just for now, the combat and having to hunt down the different abilities and whatnot feels kind of weird and kind of clunky. You know, I'm looking around and all I'm finding is the crab ability, and I'm like, well, the crab ability, yeah, it kind of sucks. I don't like it very much. I'd rather just find a stingray, but of course I can't find a stingray anywhere, but I can find a crab. Though I will say the seal one's pretty good too. But anyway, the whole thing feels kind of clunky. It's not my favorite part of the new area so far. But it's not the worst thing ever. It's playable. Another thing that kind of caught my attention and really stood out to me was just how limited some of the supplies are for crafting materials. Namely, things like the new ore to make the new weapons. It's really hard to get your hands on the stuff, I find. Like, I used the interactive map to try to find as much as I could because I'm really interested in trying out these new weapons. I want to talk about them in a little bit more detail because the crafted weapons look actually kind of interesting and I want to talk about them. But getting my hands on them, well, it's going to take some time, unfortunately. But all I can do is just keep pressing on. Honestly, I just kind of wish that the, what do you call them? The expeditions in Fontaine would let you get a few extra every day. I think that would be a good solution for me, at least for the ore. Some of the other things you can do with the expeditions, or you don't need as much as them, but, you know, it's standard fare for the new area. We don't have the whole region, so we don't even have the whole area available to even find some of this stuff yet. Now, that being said, there was actually one thing that really surprised me, though, and this kind of rolls back to what I was saying about the underwater, is that underwater feels very good. And I know that sounds very contrary to what I just said about how the combat feels kind of clunky and not the best part of it. But just swimming around, though, that feels really good. Being able to just swim around, pick up stuff, solve puzzles, and like just looking around the area, it's stunning. It looks great. It feels good to just swim around and look around the place. The areas are interesting, they're robust, there's so much to explore and see, and it really does bring a whole new dimension to the exploration process of Genshin Impact. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, if only I could just have an easier access to the abilities so I didn't have such a hard time finding them when I want them, well, then it'd probably be perfect. But for now, I can safely say that overall, I like exploring underwater. I like being underwater. It feels good. Now, there is another thing I wanted to mention, though. And I don't really know how to cover this one. It's the Hydro Traveler. I saw a video, I've seen a couple videos actually talking about him. I'm basically saying he's the worst character ever. The worst traveler of all time. Which, that's a bold statement. There's Electro Traveler still. How could he be the worst? Damn. But no, after trying him out a fair bit and trying to level up his talents and get him kind of fit for battle, I gotta say, I kind of like him. I don't think he's that good. Not yet, at least. I want to invest in him all the way. I might even put some crowns into him. I'm that dedicated to my off-meta craft at this point that I'm like, you know what? Crown a Traveler? Sure. Why not? Can't stop me. I'm out of my goddamn mind. But I digress. The Traveler, the Hydro Traveler may not be the greatest character ever, but Traveler was never really meant to be, right? Whether you use Lumine or Aether, it doesn't really matter. They're not really meant to be the be-all, end-all of each respective element. They're just meant to be functional. And I think Hydro Traveler is functional. I think he's interesting. Along with him, though, we have a bunch of other characters on the horizon, and it's kind of sad. I actually got Linny on my free-to-play account, and I've been enjoying Linny. I like his kit. I like what he does. And I expressly skipped him on the main account, not because I didn't like him, but because, you know, I'm getting him on another account. I don't need him. But also, the first character I'm the most excited for right now, that we at least know is coming up, is actually Zhongli and Freminette. I'm really excited about Freminette. Freminette? I don't know how it's pronounced properly. Anyway, point is, I'm getting Zhongli, hoping to get some Freminates, because I actually want to make a video about him too. But, again, I'm getting ahead of myself. After doing the whole storyline, I've actually found a real appreciation for Neuvillette. I think he might be the one I really want to go for next, but we'll have to see how things play out as things go on. Also, videos. The last video I put out was for a giveaway, which was very successful, so everyone who participated in that, I wanted to say thanks for just being involved. I appreciated people being there and kind of getting hyped for it. I think it was cool. I'd like to do more of them in the future, depending on how the future streams and videos play out. But that aside, the next video that I'm working on right now is actually a video for the Hydro Traveler. I really want to see what we can do with him and really push him to his limits. I think there's a real character there, and I really want to make an off-meta video on him. I think it'll be tons of fun. Other than that, I have plans for a Freminette video coming up. Once he comes out, I have a video for, I want to do something with Noelle coming up once I get Zhongli, because I want to make Noelle and the boys. And I also want to do a series of videos on the starting Mondstadt characters. So I think they are some of the most interesting off-meta characters that everyone kind of knows about, but I don't know how far most people really want to push them, except Kaya for some reason. Everybody loves Kaya. I like Kaya too. I've been talking here long enough, so I just wanted to reopen up the question that I asked at the beginning of this video. How are you enjoying Fontaine so far? Please share your thoughts on Fontaine, the region, the quest line, the story. Share all that in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say, and just hear what the general thoughts on the game is right now. I think it's in a pretty good place. I think it was a really good start for the new region, and I just hope they can maintain the momentum. So, as always, that's it for me. Cheers, take care, and as a reminder, I've been streaming Monday to Friday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and I've been just it's a casual, chill stream. Just kind of hang out and just vibe. Have a good time, I also work on team builds, I do workshops on characters, and I basically run what I like to call the Genshin helpline. So if you ever have a Genshin question, why not come by the stream during that time and ask a question? I'm more than happy to answer. So again, I say, as always, cheers, and have a good one. Take care.